2 or 3 months to help get our kids ready for that. You know, I talked to you at the beginning of the meeting about things next year. This is one of those immediate things that we can start doing to help with the process. So, mentioned yesterday in the faculty meeting, gave some shout outs to Ms. Worst, Ms. Ussery, Ms. Isengard, Ms. Blodow, Ms. King-Hanley, who've worked really hard the past few weeks. We've been having this conversation of how can we get these types of problems in front of our kids in Mr. Jones's computer class without expecting Mr. Jones to teach math and be the least intrusive to his routine as possible. So we've kind of been batting ideas around for the last few weeks, looking at problems online. We pulled a lot of different resources, and I want to show you what we came up with. You know, I told you there's 3 sections to the test. So we thought, well, what if we kind of focus on one of those tests 3 days a week? So Monday, our focus would be
teachers, and this time I mean seniors with the last names beginning with the letters R through Y to report to the Media Center for Makeup Pictures. R through Y.
Okay, so Mondays would be applied mathematics, Tuesdays reading for information, and Fridays locating information. So what would happen basically when we come back from Thanksgiving break, that Monday that we come back, I know I've got Monday 10/16, that's just an example. But when we come back from Thanksgiving break, you'll get an email like this, okay? It says, here are the videos for work keep files for Monday. Click on the link and play the assigned video as part of your warm-up activity for each block. As part of your warm-up activity. It does not replace the social studies questions that you want to review or the math questions that you want to review from yesterday. We're not pushing that out of the way. I'm going to show you one of these videos in just a second. It's 3 minutes. Okay? Again, going back to the way that we've been looking at it, had teachers looking at it and say, all right, well, what makes it easiest for Coach Jones to be able to do in his classroom? Press play is about as easy as I think we can make it. But I welcome any feedback that we can do to make the process better. So I want to show you an example. Just before I do, let me break down. So that first block, it would just be really one question that you'll see an example of. Second block, it would be a different question. Third block would be another different question. Fourth, the same. So students will get 4 different questions for applied mathematics on Monday. They see all throughout the day. So it doesn't matter if they've been in Coach Jones's class, now they're in Holbrook, they're still going to see a different problem. So let me show you how it would look. We know we got some things to work on with this video, but it's just, like I said, it's just an example. Just an example that was used. This is locating information. Fantastic. Try it again.
Today we're going to be looking at an example word keys problem. This is from the locating information text. So on the screen you see question number 11. This is a level 3 question for locating information. We're going to read through the problem, make sure we understand what it's asking for, look at our answer options, and then we're going to look at that map down there at the bottom of the graph. So let's look at the question first, number 11. You work in the information booth at a mall. A mall customer asks where the entrance of the public library is located. You tell the customer that the library entrance is at the corner of, and then you have to locate the information in the graph below. So let's break down our question first to make sure we understand where we're at and what we're looking for, what the customer is asking for. So if we just break down the first sentence, we find where we are located. You work at the information booth at a mall. A mall. All right, so if we look down at the map, we'll find that there is only one mall that is indicated on the map. Let's go ahead and circle that. So there's our shopping mall. That's where we are right now. A mall customer walks in and asks where the entrance of the public library is located. So we find 2 more pieces of information that gives us specific places on this graph that we need to look for. We need to look for the entrance of, number 2, the public library. So let's find the public library on the map. And there we have it circled. Now, we see that in that box, the public library is only located on one corner of that box, and there we'll find the entrance. So there's the corner. Now, what we need to be able to do is tell the customer that it's at the corner of blank street and blank street. And you see that, or blank avenue and blank street. And you see that each answer option, A through E, has a letter street and a number avenue associated as intersections. So let's look at where the public library, the corner of the public library is located. If we stay along the horizontal line, or x-axis, we'll go from the public library and draw a straight line all the way across to the letter. And we see that it is located on E Street. Now we need to find the other intersection. So we'll draw a vertical line from where the corner is. And we'll go all the way up till we get to that Avenue Street, which is 6th Avenue. So we know that the public library is located at the corner of E Street and 6th Avenue. So let's go back to our answer options and look at A through E to see if we can find our answer. A is incorrect because it's B Street. B is incorrect. C, we find the correct answer, E Street and 6th Avenue. That's how you can break down a question for locating informational text and find the correct answer.
So that's an example of what it could look like. You notice there a couple of different things. Number one, I know we need to make font larger so you can actually see the question. So that's something that we know we'll improve on. But with that question, it wasn't anything that we were expecting the students to be able to, actually work out. That was us showing them how to work through a problem from start to end. Reading the question, underlining key terms in that question, understanding what you're looking for, and then working through locating that information. If we change it up,
At this time, I need any remaining seniors that have not had pictures made, please report to the media center at this time. Any senior that have not had your picture made today, please report to the media center at this time. Thank you.
so if we change it up and we actually have a problem that we want the kids to work through, we'll indicate that on the email, like second block, maybe press pause at blank time, allow 2 minutes for students to work through the problem, and then press play, and you'll see us working through the results. I would encourage you to kind of doing. I'm not saying you have to get Bo-Berry biscuits out or something like that, but if we're working through a problem, give some incentives out there for students to stay with it. One of the things that has been mentioned every block throughout the day is buy-in. That's the ownership part, and for faculty, it's essential that we have that. But how do we get the students bought into it as well? Next week, we're going to be working with Mr. Roberts. We're kind of going to do a Corey Roberts show. Aside from the Corey Roberts, we're going to do a Work Keys Corey Roberts show with kids, with seniors that took the test last year. So he's going to do something similar to what he does with students and athletes, interviewing them about their experience with Work Keys. They'll talk about it a little bit, and we'll push that out to students probably the following Monday, just before Thanksgiving. So they see it, they hear it from the man, about what our expectations are, what they'll be experiencing in every class. So that kind of sets the bar for our expectations of what we want our students to do. Another good idea that came up, I think it was second block, was one of the teachers said, well, if we have kids that have already taken it, our seniors, particularly our avid students, why don't we have them do the video to kind of like be a tutorial? That's a great idea, because I get tired of listening to me. I'm sure y'all do it. I'm sure the kids would. So let the kids hear it from another kid of how to work through a problem. So probably after Christmas, once we've done a few weeks of it, and the kids have seen it and know what we expect out of those videos, we'll start working with some of those Avid Kids First Block to start doing some of those recordings. So, anything else that I've learned?
Somebody else asked about eventually getting to a part where a test bank of questions.
Right, right. So we kind of want to be able to see how our students are progressing. So what we'll probably do is start off with some sort of benchmark, not long, I mean just maybe 5 to 10 problems, something like that, just to kind of get a gauge of, you know, are students able to handle this information right now? How are they processing it? And then maybe by the time beginning of February comes around, we follow that up with, all right, kind of like exactly what we're doing with SLOs, pre and post, and see, all right, now that we've been working through them for a couple months, how are we doing on it? You know, can we perform any better? So yeah, we'll mix in a few assessments along the way, but again, that won't be, please don't freak out. Again, we want to make this as simple as possible, and the simplest thing we can do is press play. We're not asking you to do quizzes every day or things like that. But I definitely, as we get into it, definitely want your feedback on how maybe we can make it better. Things that, you know, like involving kids was a great suggestion already.
So what is the level that you're gonna send, are all those gonna be the bronze level, or?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. We're going to start with level 3,
Okay,
but we're not going to spend a lot of time on level 3.
okay,
It's probably going to be week 1.
okay.
And that's it. Just because it's very basic level. Now that's probably the top for some kids. I mean, there's some kids that I know, talking with some special ed folks, that hey, our kids got a bronze and like jumping up and down excited. But I really want us to get to level 4 and level 5 examples, right, you know, rather quickly before we get to Christmas. So, yes, sir.
How are we going to hold them accountable for these videos? Because I know by like the 4th time I show this, my kids are gonna be like, "He don't know what this is," because I'm not gonna know this math stuff, and I'm not gonna be able to hold them accountable for it. So they're just gonna use this as nap time, and I'm trying to figure out what we can do to keep them accountable for watching these and being involved and engaged with this video.
Yeah, somebody else has asked the accountability question. I think 3 minutes, is kind of our cap of what we want to, how long we want to make it. So, I mean, I know some people can start sleeping pretty quick, but it's not. We're not asking for a very long attention span. You can tie it to, you know, if you're doing a warm up that has 2 or 3 social studies questions and you grade that, you can tie that to it, especially if we have a question that requires them to actually work through a problem. If you associate it with participation, that's fine. You know, another teacher kind of said, well, is it all right if I pause it right at the beginning and before you start explaining it, let them work it out? That's fantastic. And if you want to hold them accountable for that with their warm-up grade, that's fine. But I think having a quiz, Coach Teague and I have talked about that, a couple hours ago. Having a quiz along the way with things that we've covered, skills that we've covered, could hold them accountable. There's some, you can't help somebody that doesn't want to help themselves. We fight that battle every day. So there's no amount of structure or accountability that we can hang over their heads that's going to make a difference with somebody that won't help themselves.
And they are different questions.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
first block is one question, second block's gonna be so
Right.
they're not gonna hear the same question over, like, that's what I thought at the beginning, it's gonna be the same question, but your 4th block will get a brand new question they haven't seen all day, so.
Right.
Now, as far as a class like I have that teaches, that has all seniors in it, they've already taken the work keys. I mean, would you still want us implementing this as part of the work?
That's
key?
that's another good question that's come up already. Yes, because a couple things. In the video, you didn't see or hear work keys ever mentioned.
Right.
And we're not going to do. We're intentionally not doing that. Or actually, I probably did. I think I did say that. But we've made a note already today. We're not going to say work keys going forward because really, and you guys experienced this today. It's not about the content.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter if you're doing this in a music class or a Spanish class or a history class. It's really about the skills
Mhm.
behind it, what they're doing. their analytic skills, their reasoning skills, test-taking skills.